want to start this video off by saying hi. I'm the second brother on this channel. My older brother is the one who did the Arcane series on the channel. I wanted to introduce myself because I'll be making some videos on this channel. Some will be analysis like his, and then others will be like this. This video is just gonna be my thoughts, no script, nothing, on the new Edge of Fate DLC for Destiny 2. I wanted to wait a couple of days. This is gonna be a couple of days late after the DLC launched, because I have been seeing a lot of people come out with videos within the first day or so. I didn't really want to do that because then I would just be tired and grumpy and trash on the game the entire time, but I just wanted to wait and get my own opinion out there a little later after I've had time to sleep on the DLC. I want to start off with it talking about the campaign. We'll start with the story. To be honest, I think the story is very bad. The reason I think that, well, first off, there's a whole lot of nothing going on. It's very it doesn't really set up anything for an entire new saga. To be entirely honest, the new 9 stuff just feels kind of boring compared to what we were doing before, and I know that this is a new saga supposed to be starting because the other one ended, but they could have gone for something a little more interesting than what's going on in this DLC here, where you're just basically dealing with time travel nonsense, which I'll get into in a second, which I think is really bad. But the dialogue is one of the worst part of this. 2 of the characters, namely Ikora and Drifter, in my opinion, could just not have been there, and it would have been fine. We could have had the whole story just be about the 2 other characters. The new guy, I forgot his name, and then the emissary girl who supposedly quit being an emissary of the 9, which to me makes no sense either. But for me, the dialogue's really bad. Ikora spends most of the time screaming about how she doesn't believe in the 9 or the fate of the 9, basically, and she wants to make her own fate and all of that. This is a story that's been told a million times. I'm kind of just sick and tired of it, and it really doesn't belong in Destiny. The dialogue of Drifter usually just comes down to, "I've been a pawn." That's it. Him just complaining about being a pawn. So 90% of the dialogue from these 2 is just complaining, and if they were removed outright, in my opinion, the story wouldn't change very much. The new character, honestly, is kind of boring as well. His dialogue usually boils down to trying to figure out what the 9 are planning or what's going on, and he doesn't really add too much to it either. Now, the emissary person is where I get the most annoyed, because the story of this campaign basically boils down to, and spoiler warning, if you don't want to hear it, just skip ahead now, but it boils down to one of the 9 are dead, which I'll get into in a moment. That's the big reveal. That didn't need to be a big reveal. The only reason that's a big reveal is so that they can be intentionally vague with her dialogue and not give actual dialogue. For the most part, she spends most of the time being like, "I can't remember," and then starts to remember pieces, and then saying, "I can't remember" again, so that they can just go through a story that has no substance, no story at all. But the reason I said I'll get back into the 9 dying, other reason I hate the story to this campaign is it subverts the previous stories, or it not really subverts, but it makes them useless. Like the 9 being able to apparently see time outside of time and be able to traverse time and all of that, but they're considered the celestial bodies of Sol, which are the planets, and on one case can be killed. I don't see how that's possible if you can time travel like that and are completely timeless. And then on the other hand, didn't intervene or could not stop the Witness, who was going to completely rewrite the universe, which in its own would have destroyed the 9. So this story also makes no sense and has no stakes, because we've already dealt with the big bad that was much stronger. Which, again, I understand it's kind of difficult to start a new story from that when you just came off of a super godlike being that was near unkillable. But you could have done better than this. This whole story feels back to Destiny 1, the first bit of Destiny 1, where 90% of the story is not told at all. You're just doing things to do them. The time travel aspect of this story also annoys me, because now we're looking back in time to see stuff that happens. It shows the collapse happening in what, I'm not sure if this is the case, but it looks like it's at the wrong point, because the collapse was supposed to happen during the Golden Age, and when it happens in this small little cutscene showing the pyramid ships and all of that and these buildings falling, It just looks like a present day city, not the Golden Age city. So to me, that made no sense either. The Archon is the main villain in quotations of this. He is a boring nothing character. He is one of those characters that seems to just be, they seem to be just pulling from Halo, where he just wants to go through the singularity, which is giant black hole, in order to ascend, kind of like how the prophets wanted to do the great journey with the Halo rings. So they're just basically copying that from one of their older games, Halo. So to me, it nothing ever hit. The Archon's dialogue was annoying and no different than whatever his name was from the season of the vampire season that we did last year. Overall, with the story, it shows like Ikora's past, which I don't care about. I honestly don't think anyone should care about, because we've already dealt with this. We had friggin' Zavala dealing with his past so much that it almost got him killed. I'm just kind of tired of it. I don't really care for that at all. So that was just a nothing thing that happened. It's supposed to be like, oh, look how powerful the Nine are. They've set all of this up from the beginning. That doesn't make any sense when you look back at what the Witness was capable of and all of that. The Nine just should not be this powerful, and it makes zero sense. The story overall is just very bad. But does the mission structure make up for it? Little bit, maybe. I actually enjoy that the missions require a little bit of exploration. You had to move around and find ways to traverse and different puzzles to get in between sections. And missions have puzzle bosses. Most of the bosses have a shield gate that require a puzzle, which some people may find annoying. I think that's okay in this type of mission, or in this type of game. Well, in this type of DLC, because it's more puzzle-based than it is anything else. There's actually fun parts of the puzzles that I really enjoyed, like in the final mission, actually having to figure out to use a cannon to boost up as this little matter ball that you can turn into to hit the enemies. It was pretty cool. I will say they were quite repetitive in the missions. There's a ton of missions, but to be entirely honest, most of them could have been condensed into a single mission. Like, you could take 3 of the little missions and condense it into one that just has 3 sections to it, rather than it being, here's the mission, now you need to run over here and then start the next mission, kill one boss, now run over here and start this mission. It just seems kind of lazy. And then the biggest downside of the mission structure, I would say, is the amount that it shoves Matter Spark down your throat. Like, I like to explore. I love to run around with Matter Spark. But the absolute requirement of it in almost every single encounter is incredibly annoying. It shoves it down your throat almost as much as Strand gets shoved down your throat in Lightfall, which is just kind of annoying. Like, let us just explore and learn it for ourselves. Leave the missions to the missions. The open world is named Kepler. I think it's actually a decent zone. I've heard a lot of people saying that they really dislike the new zone Kepler, but to me, I think it was decent. It has some fun exploration aspects where you have to use Matter Spark or the cannon to teleport around, or the I forgot what the thing was called. I forgot what it was called, but you can throw it at objects and it'll move them around if they're a movable object. And I thought that was interesting. There's chests around and stuff that you can go find, stuff to explore. The exotic weapon you actually have to use to explore around and get its catalyst by finding these like plants and stuff on the different world tiers. And I actually enjoy just kind of how the place looks, the set pieces and all of that. I actually enjoy the planet as it's in its own, especially like where the final boss is. That's a really cool set piece, just out in the open with this giant thing in the background. I thought that was pretty cool. That's it for the campaign aspects in the open world aspect. Let's talk about some of the changes that happened during this. I enjoy the tiered gear. I'm not sure what other people's really opinions is on it. I actually enjoy it because it gives me something extra to farm for. The tiered gear does kind of feel like a way to just walk back crafting, because at tier 2 you'll get like automatically masterworked items, and then tier 3 and 4 you'll get more perks and more masterworked items, and then tier 5 you'll end up with like 3 perks in each column with masterworked items. That's cool, but it does feel kind of like a walk back. But it does feel like kind of a walk back from the previous crafting system. But instead of you having to farm for 5 deep sight, you're now farming for actual tiered weapons, which come from higher and higher difficulties of the game. I actually enjoy that quite a bit, to be honest, more than the crafting system, because farming for deep sights was really annoying to me. The armor changes, in my opinion, are awesome. I do like that we've stepped away from the armor being all about cooldowns, and now you can actually increase your damage on multiple things. I currently am running a Starfire Protocol Warlock build with a ton of grenade, which gives me almost 35% more damage right now, and that's not min-maxed, so I'm unsure as to how high that could go. When damage testing comes out, I may have to bite my words here and say that maybe it doesn't actually do much, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen any videos on like this big damage testing, and I haven't really had time to do any myself because I'm also doing other things other than just playing Destiny. I enjoy the new power grind system. A lot of people are saying it's boring. I 100% can agree with you on that because of what you're doing to gain power. The power system itself I enjoy because now you're doing mission after mission after mission to gain power rather than, hey, I need to do this mission, hope that I get the item, oh, I didn't get the item, well, I'll log back on next week and try again. Instead of that, you can actually farm to your heart's content and try to get the item you want. There's focused items that you can look for and all that. I think that's awesome. And it seems to me, on the last part of the changes, it seems to me that they've moved away from the seasonal content thing, because I don't actually think there's a seasonal activity. It's now just Kepler and then doing some challenges to further the battle pass, kind of, instead of there just being this big season. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I'm waiting for the big event that's supposed to come where they're bringing back the Plague Lands. That would probably be the best time that I could say anything really on that, because right now I'm not sure too much about it. One of the newest things they added was the portal. My thoughts on the portal really are, I don't know yet, because on one hand, the portal is pretty cool. You get to choose your own stuff. There's even now solo ops missions that you can do to gain power, which I've been just running over and over and over again to gain power. I'm currently almost 200, which is the soft cap for this season, before you have to start using, I forgot what they're called, to actually infuse 200 plus items on higher difficulties. But the solo ops and stuff like that are cool. Like I said, they have focus stuff. Sometimes it'll show a specific item that can drop, so you can do that to find, like, if you really need a gauntlet, you can go do one of those to get a gauntlet. And sometimes you even get drops that will be like, hey, it'll be like a coin that gives another reward from a different mission, which I thought was pretty cool too. So you can basically farm multiple different drop coins and then go do a mission that they're attached to, and then get an extra drop each time you do that until they're run out. The problem is that there's very repetitive mission structure. They're very short, like 10-minute missions that all seem to be basically the same, and to some people that's incredibly annoying and boring because you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. I can see that. Like right now I'm only 2 days in, so I'm still having fun, but I could see it getting very repetitive very quickly to some people. The activities kind of rotate a little bit. There's some different activities. I don't know when they're going to rotate, probably weekly, to be honest. And then the last thing about it is you basically get to make your own difficulty. If you don't choose one of the pre-made difficulty, like matchmaking system that you go into, you actually can pick a specific mission and then add your own difficulty to it, which at the bottom will show you as you put more difficulty, will show you the higher power gear you're going to get, and then what tier you need to obtain to get more gear and stuff like that. I think that's actually pretty cool. I like to make my own difficulty rather than having something just shoved down your throat like champions and all that nonsense that needs to basically just be removed from the game, in my opinion. So that was the portal. A major flaw of this DLC is a very large amount of content has been soft sunsetted. And what I mean by that is if you go look at the world map, every place is grayed out because they don't really want you doing those. They want you in the portal. The reason this is a problem is there's content like the Pale Heart that came out last year that is now almost useless because the portal is now where everything's at. It's the main place you can get power. I do not know at this time if you can do old missions to get power upgrades, But even then, most people are going to be wanting to look at the portal anyway because these are grayed out. I don't know why they decided to go with this. Some of the old activities could have kept their pinnacle rewards so that players who wanted to continue doing that could still grind those and then make those weekly. Like, they could stay the weekly thing and then they go to the portal after. That way, old activities were still useful. Right now, I don't even see raids in the portal, which concerns me, but maybe that'll happen after the newest one releases on Saturday, so I don't know yet. Hopefully once people beat the raid, some new content like that would come. So that's like the major flaw of this DLC in my opinion. Do I think it's worth $40? No. I don't think it's worth $40. I don't think they put enough content in. The content that is in is mediocre at best, which is what I would describe this whole DLC as, mediocre, because the campaign, in my opinion, was bad story-wise. I think mission structure was alright. I do like the new area, but with the removal, well, not removal, but soft sunsetting of the old content, basically making it to where you're not supposed to play it, makes it actively take content away a little bit. So to me, I don't think it's worth the $40 that is the asking price. I would wait if you're still wanting to play Destiny, because I love Destiny. Don't get me wrong, I love Destiny. My older brother does not. You could hear that all the time when he talks about it. I love Destiny, but I would say wait for a sale on this one, or wait for at least the event to come out with some more content and all that before you end up purchasing it. But yeah, my thoughts on the DLC is that it's mediocre at best, not worth the $40. I would wait on it. You could get it if you really want to play right now, but I would wait until there's a reason to buy it, because the portal itself is separate. You can play the portal without buying the DLC, so really the only thing that gets added is Kepler in the campaign. But yeah, that was my thoughts on this DLC. If you have a differing opinion, that's fine. You can voice it below in the comment section. I don't hate the game. I actually really love the game. I think they're going in a decent direction with this, but they need to step it up a bit more. But yeah, let me know your opinions down below, and thank you for listening.